Hi, everybody. I am here today with Elizabeth O'Daly with Guild Mortgage, and we are going to talk about down payments and down payment assistance programs. So,
what would you like to know?
well, first of all, introduce yourself and share a little bit about your background.
Okay. Well, my name is Elizabeth O'Daly. I've been a loan officer for, gosh darn, I think about over 25 years. So it's been a minute. And with that, my experience has been in California and here in New Mexico. And I just love this job. I think this job is so fantastic, and I feel so lucky to have it.
That's wonderful. Elizabeth is great at coming up with creative ways to put together loans and make sure people can get their financing. And if they're not quite ready to get their financing, she helps them with advice on how to get there, right? What is one common misconception people have about down payments?
That you need 20% down is the number one thing that most people believe is true, and it is not. We have programs that actually you don't need any down payment for. And first-time homebuyers especially have a great opportunity in that we can help with down payment and closing cost assistance. So that's probably the number one misconception.
Yeah, and with the price of homes going up, that can be a really big deal because it's just getting into the game is a lot of money.
I would agree with that, yes.
Yeah. So buyers don't really need 20% down necessarily. And what are some common lower down payment options, and who are they best suited for?
So there are 4 basic types of loans. There's conventional government financing, construction, and first-time home buyer programs. Now the first-time home buyers they include the first few different programs, conventional, all these different programs, they're all inclusive of those. So each type of program can be done. Oh, I had to sneeze, I'm so sorry.
Oh, bless you.
Okay, I know you'll come out with the edit on that.
Yep.
Can I do the question again?
Yes, let's start over.
Okay.
What are some common lower down payment options, and who are they best suited for?
Okay, so the lowest down payment that you can do is no down payment, or utilizing these secondary programs to help facilitate those numbers. But the lowest down payment is going to be conventional financing with only 3% down. And we have a loan to cover that. Also, FHA allows for 3.5% down, and that can be covered also with some of these programs. And then we also have VA loans for our veterans, and that's 100% financing, so there's no down payment necessary at all. And lastly, USDA offers a 100% financing option as well, and no down payment there as well. So all these are different great options, and who are they best suited for? The first-time home buyer program is really good for someone who has not owned a home in 3 years. So you can be a first-time home buyer again. So if you've rented for 3 years, you can fall back into that first-time home buyer thing again.
Okay, so you can get the benefit of having that that less expensive option.
Yes.
Yes, that's great.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about the USDA loan? I think
Sure
a lot
can.
of people don't know about that option.
Yes. So when you go to the store and you see the stamp USDA on meat, I always think cows. So then I always think farm. So that's kind of what a USDA loan is it's really designed for areas that have farmland.
Okay.
And they do have income limits on them, but these are for folks who can qualify for that program and that type of property.
Okay. So it's more for rural areas, not so much for urban or suburban locations.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Farmland. Think USDA.
Okay. So would like a mini farm in the North Valley count for that, or for?
It could, but very unlikely because usually they're used to be able to kind of help the area grow.
Okay.
So that's what these loans are really designed for originally, is to help areas, create more buyers, more population, things like that. So that's what these programs are originally designed for.
So places like Los Lunas,
yes,
or
Belen,
Bernalillo,
yes,
they north of Albuquerque.
Yeah, outside the city probably is where you'll find these types of qualifying areas.
Okay. What is down payment assistance, and how does that work?
Okay, great question. So down payment assistance is going to be just what it sounds like. So it's usually a secondary loan that you will get as a first-time home buyer to supplement that down payment if you don't have it. Now, you're not required to use it, but it's really helpful to have, because then you can save the money that you have in the bank and use it for furniture or upgrading the property, things like that. So I like the programs, and there's probably about 4 of them that we have.
Okay.
We have one program that's called MFA, and it's probably the most popular first-time homebuyer program here in New Mexico.
MFA is the
Mortgage Finance Authority.
Mortgage Finance Authority. Okay.
Yeah, every state has one, but the one here in New Mexico is amazing, really amazing, and helps so many homeowners. I love this program very much. It's my first go-to. Lower rates, better opportunity to cover down payment and closing costs both. These are income and purchase price, they have limits. So as long as you fall within limits of their 3 programs, you can use their financing. We also have at Guild, we also have additional programs if you don't fall in that category, where we offer down payment and closing costs also for our buyers. So that's helpful too.
Oh, okay. This is so helpful. Who typically qualifies for these DPA programs?
Well, we have one program that anyone, no matter what your income is, can qualify. So it's really across the board. MFA uses income limits based on 1 to 2 people family and 3 to 4 people family sizes.
Okay.
And then the state also issues, or the government also issues different income limits, and those are used for other programs. It's quite a lot, to be honest with you. There's no straight answer. There's just so much information about this that really you want to ask your local loan officer what's available to them, what's going to work best, and someone who specializes in programs like this, because they're not easy to do. I mean, I love them, but not everybody loves them. So it's a little bit of a labor of love. But
a little complex.
They're a little complex, and there's so many little intricacies of them. You just have to do them for a long time as a loan officer, and then you just kind of know what to expect.
Okay.
And so.
Gotcha. All right. And can these funds be used with other programs like FHA or VA loans?
Yes.
Okay.
So MFA, you can actually use conventional, FHA, VA, and USDA, all the loans inside of that program.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that cool?
That is pretty cool.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, that really gets a lot of people.
It's almost everybody.
Into a home. Yeah,
Yes.
almost everybody. Okay, so some of these have income limits. What about credit scores?
Yes. So Guild has a program, is 600 required, and that's one that has no limits on it. And then MFA requires 620 on all their loans.
Okay.
So.
Okay. So that's not terrible.
No, it's not terrible. And here's the cool thing. With MFA, if you have a 620, you're going to get the same rate as someone who has 700. So you're not going to be penalized for having, not so happy credit.
Okay.
So you're going to get, everyone's treated equally to some degree.
Great. What are some common myths or misunderstandings about these programs?
Some people believe that they cannot qualify, but they don't really know why. And it's usually just not explained to them why or what's gone on, or the bank doesn't have another option. So you will not find these programs at your credit union.
Okay.
You will not get this loan at New Senda, which is the largest credit union in New Mexico. You will not find it at Bank of America, but you will find it with private mortgage banks.
Okay.
So that's where you want to go for these.
Okay, so that's the advantage, one of the advantages of using a private lender.
Yeah, this is going to be a benefit. You want to use a local lender, but a private mortgage bank.
Gotcha. So how should buyers prepare if they want to qualify for one of these programs?
Okay, so if someone wants to get qualified right now, just do that, get qualified right now. I would say the 4 components of a loan are 4 basic things: income, monthly debt on a credit report, credit scores, and savings. With those 4 things, we can pretty much determine in a minute as to whether someone could potentially qualify and whether they should move forward with an application.
Okay.
So it only takes like 5 minutes.
Okay, so and then it's the same for the down payment assistance program as it is for a loan.
Yeah, so one of the things that a good loan officer can do is they will actually look through the information. We will kind of already know. So I might say, for example, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, what is your hourly income? They'll say $23 an hour as an example. Well, I know that that borrower can probably get into the first home program because I know that the income limit is for that. but maybe they have less than a 620. So then I go, okay, well then I'm going to use my in-house program instead. It's called Zero Down. So I'm going to use that instead. So you kind of have to know the programs well enough to find the right box for that person.
Mm-hmm.
But pretty much, as long as you have a 600 credit score, you're probably going to be okay.
Okay. All right. That's pretty easy, I
Yeah,
think, for
right?
most people. Or, you know, if you've had some credit issues, it's easy to get there.
Yeah, we help you fix your credit too.
Yeah.
So if you're not credit happy right this minute, we can get you credit happy.
Okay.
It may take a couple of months or
Mhm.
whatever, and we just give you some guidance on that, and no cost to the borrower, and we just see where you are and kind of prepare you for your home purchase. Sometimes it doesn't happen right away, but we want to get it done as as easily for you as possible.
What documents or steps are involved in applying for one of the
Well-
programs? Is it the same as applying for a mortgage?
Pretty much, yeah. It's
Okay.
the same exact thing. Plus a blood draw and an organ donation. And, besides that, I'm kidding. It's really the same thing. The only thing that makes it a little different is you're
Okay.
going to take a first-time homebuyer class. Usually they're online. They may take an hour or two, but really worth it because you'll get a little additional education as well.
Mhm.
So I think they're worth doing.
Okay. And do you feel like a lot of people just are not, as first-time home buyers, or even long-time borrowers, right? Maybe don't have a good education in the financing part of their home ownership.
Well, let me tell you. Real estate and mortgages are such a complex animal,
Mhm.
and they're so different for each person, each family, that what's right for one person is not right for the other.
Mhm.
And there's no way for that borrower or that buyer to know where to go, because unless you're going to sit down and become get your master's degree in lending and real estate, it's going to be really difficult to try and learn every single thing there is
Mhm.
to know what's right. So
Okay.
you really have to go with a good guide
Mm-hmm.
to be able to help you figure that out.
Okay.
So don't try and do it yourself at home. Is what
Right.
I'm saying, basically.
Right.
Get a professional. Find someone that's going to help you really maneuver through the best possible option.
Right.
So.
I had a mentor one time that said only so many penguins can fit on the iceberg. Right.
Oh my God. Okay, I like that.
Yeah. So there's no way you can know everything.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Mhm.
You have to just have a little trust in the person that
Mhm.
you're working with. Ask questions. I'll be honest with you, I would always ask, for lenders especially, how many times have you done a first-time homebuyer program?
Mhm.
Ask those questions, because if they really haven't done that many, maybe you want to rethink that.
Right.
Maybe interview a few more people just before you kind of
Okay.
figure that out, because they can be a little challenging.
Yeah. So don't just go with anybody that you find.
Yeah,
right? Really
definitely not.
ask a lot of questions and feel comfortable with the person you're working with.
Yes, it's a big trust thing.
Yeah, and it's a huge investment.
The biggest investment you're going to make on a personal
Mhm.
level at any time. So, yeah, it's a big deal.
It's a lot of times somebody's largest financial asset.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. In New Mexico, besides the MFA, are there any other important programs to know about?
There's actually another one too. I'm trying to remember the name of it, but I don't utilize that program, so it's not something I do. What's it called? I just forgot the name of it. But they have their own lending, their own real estate
Okay.
folks. And I wish I could think more of it on it, but I will.
But we can
send
put
to
the
you.
information in the show notes.
Oh, that's
as
a
well.
good idea.
Mhm.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that.
What about, for example, grants for professionals, different professions? Like there's the Nurse Next Door grant.
Okay.
Are there other professional grants that people can get?
Not that we have or have access
Mm-hmm.
to. I do know that there's one for Homes for Heroes.
Okay.
I don't do that program. I have invested in it before, but there's a very large. It's good for that person, but it's not a grant or a program. It's basically money that's given back to the buyer after they purchase their home.
Okay.
So, and I think that you have to register with the program in order to get these funds,
Okay.
and it's only after closing that you get them.
Okay.
So,
Okay,
yeah.
that's good to know.
Yeah.
All right. What advice do you have for somebody that's worried about affordability right now, but still wants to buy?
Well, I'd say my biggest tip is cast a wide net as to where you're looking for real estate.
Mhm.
Maybe you don't live in the Northeast Heights right away if you're buying in Albuquerque as an
Mhm.
example. Maybe you're living in Rio Rancho because maybe the homes there are a little bit cheaper, or maybe you're living a little, different areas. Look at Los Lunas. Los Lunas has some really beautiful homes for a little bit less price.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't mean that you can't buy. It just means where can you live?
Right.
So I always say cast a big wide net when you're looking for homes, because the affordability can be improved
Mm-hmm.
for the type of home that you need
Right.
based on where you live.
Right. You might have to commute a little bit, but you'll be into a home, and then later on,
And
you
it's
can get your dream home.
they call it the first time home buyer program,
Mhm.
because it's your first home, not your last one.
Right.
So this can be just a stepping stone to get to that next level. But if you don't buy, you might as well take your money and light it on fire because that's what rent is.
Right.
It's a waste of money and a waste of time for you as a buyer to spend your money that way, so.
Yeah. And also it gives you a little bit more control of your finances, because your rent can go up, right? Your landlord can raise your rent
Mm-hmm.
the next time your lease is up. But when you have, a conventional loan, right?
Mm-hmm.
That not an ARM, but a conventional loan, your house payment's going to stay the same.
Right, and that's all first-time homebuyer programs only deal with fixed-rate loans.
Mm-hmm.
So your loan itself, the payment should not change.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good reason in
Yeah.
itself. So even though you think that maybe paying $2,000 a month now seems like a lot, well, just wait. If you look at the history of rents and look at the
Mhm.
history of real estate, the numbers are really obvious. So if you're curious and wanting to know, is it time for me to buy, or is it worth it? You want to look at the appreciation rates.
Mhm.
So right now we're between 2 and 4% depending on the area. So that's how much housing is going up right now.
Mhm.
And if you look at the history of real estate over a 30-year period, it's very obvious that home buying is definitely a better way to live, because you have to live somewhere, right?
Right.
So I don't know, you have to ask yourself where you want to be.
Right. It just gives you a little extra stability, which is, especially these days, is so important.
I think so too.
What is one thing you wish buyers knew about the process, the home buying process?
That it's not as difficult as it seems. Now, I try and make it easy, so I ask a lot of questions in the beginning. So it already gets them familiar with like what they'll need, what's going to happen, and they're more prepared and less stressed because we've already figured out a potential purchase price, payment, before they've even filled out an application. I think that's a benefit that my team serves, is that we don't even make the borrower do an application until we actually feel like they're ready. So I think that's what we do, and I think that's very beneficial.
So you do a whole consulting process first?
Yes, exactly.
Excellent.
Before they even start their application, because it's a waste of our time too. Just saying, here's the application, fill it out and get back to me, which is what most banks will do. So we only have you do one if we think that it's time. So it saves you time and me time.
So where can people reach you if they want to talk more about their options, their mortgage options?
Okay. So I work in Albuquerque. I also have an office in Santa Fe, and I work 7 days a week. Big loser.
Not at all.
Yeah, so I work 7 days a week, but I have a little team that kind of makes this all possible. And my phone number is 505-415-6315, and just give me a call and we can set up some time for you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Liz, for your time this morning. It's always fun to talk to you.
Thank you so much for
having me. Liz and I will probably talk some more about other mortgage topics. So thanks so much for coming in. Make sure to like and subscribe. Take care.